Hello and welcome to today's video, and today I'm going to be predicting what the lineup could be like for Scarefest 2024. Now obviously it is only April and they haven't even begun the marketing for Scarefest this year, but there are already a few things that we potentially know about it. The first thing that we learnt about this year's Scarefest is that the Alton Towers dungeon will actually be closing in June for a major transformation for Scarefest. Now, obviously, we know that these past few years when Alton Towers Dungeon has been operating, they've actually altered the experience slightly to be a bit more scary and comedic for Scarefest, but never in the attraction's history have they had to close the attraction months before Scarefest in order to make it into something else. So they're potentially replacing Alton Towers Dungeon with a sort of a new scare attraction for Scarefest, but there's rumours it could be closing permanently in June. Because obviously that whole attraction is just pretty much like there's literally a not very popular attraction. There's rarely anyone around there. Like, it's so empty, Alton Towers Dungeon. So, and obviously that space is quite a large space for an attraction. But obviously, so it makes sense that it could be a Scarefest attraction, but that also tells us something else as well. Usually, right next to Alton Towers Dungeon for Scarefest since 2021 has been Trick or Treat Town. So unless they're going to put a brand new Scarefest attraction next to an already existing one, could that mean that Trick or Treat Town could be not returning for this year's Scarefest? We don't know that. But either way, there's only like a few months left to actually experience Alton Towers Dungeon before it closes for a Scarefest overhaul. Another thing we know is that, well, this isn't even confirmed to be anything to do with Scarefest, but it's very heavily rumoured. But just before opening day, like a few weeks before opening day this year, Alton Towers submitted a plan application for a brand new, what they labelled as a brand new facilities building in between Curse Alton Manor and Forbidden Valley. But what's interesting about this building is that it shares the exact same shape and design, same structural design as survival games at Fort Park, which has been operating at Friday nights since 2022. Now obviously it doesn't actually say anything really about what's going to go in the building apart from it's a facilities building, but that could mean anything really. Considering it shares the same design layout as survival games, that's started a rumour it could be like a brand new scare maze or a new scare experience. And to back this theory even further, they actually submitted a second plan application for a brand new building of the exact same design, but on the site of where Darkest Depths is now. And obviously Darkest Depths was a scare maze that's been located next to the towers since 2020. The first opened in 2019 in Mutiny Bay in the courtyard area, but that's obviously been at Scarefest since 2019 for about 5 years now. And another thing about this year's Scarefest, I'm hoping that the majority of the attractions from last year's Scarefest do not return. Maybe with the exception of obviously Burial Grounds, and to be honest I wouldn't mind if Daz Games Panic returns, but then again I don't think it will. Because that seems like it might have just been a 1 year attraction. But Burial Grounds I really hope that does return, but maybe with some more new theming and obviously probably new storyline as well. So obviously following on connected to the same storyline of like the Unchosen and everything to do with the Wicker Man, but with like brand new theming as well to enhance the experience. And also that because we know that Burial Grounds was actually really well received at Scarefest last year, that could mean Alton Towers might want to invest in some brand new scare zones. Now obviously unlike scare mazes, scare zones aren't really built in the same way as mazes, obviously, because obviously with scare mazes you see the actual building for it, depending on where it is. You mainly, if it's like a brand new scare maze from the ground up, you're going to see the building built from the ground up for weeks or maybe even months before it's supposed to open. Whereas with scare zones, those are literally placed in already existing areas of the park, and all we've got to do is just add theming around it and actually make it an immersive space. But obviously another difference with scare zones to scare mazes is that scare zones aren't upcharged, because obviously like I said before, they are usually located on already accessible areas of the park, like different themed lands or pathways or anything like that. So I'm thinking we could get some new scare zones this year, because obviously, like I said, Burial Grounds was really well received last year. And as for these 2 brand new buildings that were submitted to the local council, these could be scare mazes, because like I said, they both share the exact same exterior design as survival games, which is a scare maze at Fright Nights. As for the first building, going between Curse and Forbidden Valley, groundwork for that has actually already started. Obviously it's only like land clearance at the moment, because obviously the planning permission, we don't think it's been approved just yet, but if it does get approved and they've done all this groundwork, it means they can just crack on with building it straight away. And obviously, as for the one going where Darkest Depths, if that gets approved, then that pretty much confirms that Darkest Depths probably won't return this year. As for the attic, I don't know if that will return. That probably won't, because the last couple of years has not really been that good. Altonville Mine Tours, that's getting way too old to continue operating at Scarefest, even after last year with its sort of revamp into Tiny's Revenge. As for the Invitation, the audio experience, I swear if that returns, then I'm really not going to be happy, because like it returned for a second season, even after pretty much universal agreements that it was a rubbish experience. But either way, if it does, I don't think it will be returning. I hope they've listened to us this time and decided to not bring it back and instead replace it with something else. But either way, the lineup for this year's Scarefest is filling me with optimism, and I cannot wait to see what it's like. So I want to thank you all very much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, then please make sure to like and subscribe, and comment if you would like to see the next video. Goodbye.